Rob, you think DOGE was a waste of time? Think again. Here's why. Last week, Peter Thiel said no one should underestimate Elon Musk. Thiel was right, and I was wrong about this. The amount of fraud and waste that DOGE has found exceeds the wildest dreams of even the most ardent libertarians.
Thing number one, Gary, I was wrong in quotes. DOGE lives up to promises.
Yeah, so Rob, you think DOGE was a waste of time? Think again. Here's why. I was just wrong about this one. My original view was it's a great idea. I'm strongly in favor of cutting government spending, as any DKI reader or watcher knows. But I just felt like, listen, both parties overspend. Congress is invested in overspending. Once Congress allocates funds, it's very hard to cut it. And, I made the mistake that Peter Thiel warned everybody about. Last week, Peter Thiel said no one should underestimate Elon Musk. Thiel was right, and I was wrong about this. The amount of fraud and waste that DOGE has found exceeds the wildest dreams of even the most ardent libertarians. Even the most small government people, I think, did not expect this level of obscene waste. We saw DOGE terminate 104 government DEI contracts across 30 federal agencies. That saved over $1 billion and reinforced Martin Luther King's message that we should judge each other by our character and capabilities. DOGE shut down the U.S. Agency for International Development, which looked like an agency that was invested in foreign aid. It turns out that we were funding DEI musicals in countries that didn't want them. It was funding independent media, which was not independent, with written instructions for things like large-scale social deception. This is what our government was doing. Literally signing media contracts for large-scale social deception. There's also evidence that USAID funds were used to try to overthrow democratically elected governments in other countries. Let me ask you, Rob, does that sound like a foreign aid budget, or does that sound like a CIA black ops budget?
Yeah, scary stuff there, Gary. Gary, I know one of the things we've talked about is trying to look for an independent media. Where are we getting our news sources? Who are we hearing from? Do you think that we have that right now?
We 100% do not. And, the media has understandably over the last few years been screaming in public about the importance of a watchdog media and independent media. And I would agree with them if that's what they were. But what we found out was these thousands of media outlets, not only just in the US, all over the world, are getting paid by the US government, and one particular political party is paying media millions of dollars. And we saw Politico, they were selling $10,000 subscriptions to people. I mean, listen, I wish I had been smart enough to go to Washington and say, hey, why don't you guys all pay me $10,000 a year? I'll tell you what's going on in the stock market. So the media, they're paid, they're bought media. It's not real. And by the way, the cover up has been incredible. Rob, one of the biggest areas of fraud has been in the Social Security area. They've discovered people getting paid who have no Social Security number, and people getting paid multiple times on duplicate Social Security numbers. My recommendation is call Auth-ID. They've got a biometric security system that would eliminate all of this, right? Auth-ID can fix this. They don't want it fixed. And the worst part about this, in my opinion, is the media, rather than getting angry about the funds being used to secure the health and safety of our senior citizens being wasted and all of this fraud, they're trying to cover it up. And that tells me they're not independent media, they're bought.
Elon Musk, I think, said it best. He was saying, okay, either one of two things needs to happen or is true. Is either one, a lady that is 150 years old, we need the World Book of Guinness Records out at her house to interview her, talk to her, or she's dead. One or the other. We can't have it both ways. Super interesting, Gary. For you, what do you think are going to be those next targets for?
I think they're focused on two places in particular. One is CMS. That's the agency that disperses Medicare and Medicaid funding. And people will get angry about that. And the media is going to say, oh, no, you want to cut, medical care for seniors. No, they want to cut waste. And I assure you, because I've seen how some of this happens, there is massive amounts of waste at CMS. money is being stolen from these programs that help try to keep Americans healthy. Cutting that waste will be crucial. And they're also going to be targeting the IRS. And the thing about this that's kind of funny is, the last administration hired 87,000 IRS agents to audit us. And now it turns out the IRS is going to be the one that's audited. I don't know what's going on there. I have zero evidence of any kind of fraud at the IRS. The very infrequent dealings I've had with them have actually been productive and reasonable. And I also think people like to get mad at the IRS. They blame the IRS. It's actually not their fault. It's Congress that sets the tax levels. It's Congress that sets all of the regulations. It's easy to get mad at the IRS, but paying your taxes, if you're not happy with your tax bill, that's not the fault of the IRS. Blame Congress for that. So I'm sure they're going to find a lot of fraud and waste at CMS. I don't know what they'll find at the IRS.
I won't tell anyone on the team to put the headline for that video or clip Gary. Gary defends the IRS, and then we'll let the crowd decide what they want to do with that.
Yeah, great. I know people are going to say that, now I'm defending the IRS. I'm not. I'm just not mad at them. I don't think what's going on is their fault. We should put the blame on Congress. And yeah,
Fair
it's
enough.
100% probability this gets misinterpreted by someone somewhere, and they're going to have a hot take on it that is not accurate, but whatever, print your comments in the, print whatever you have to say in the comments. We'll deal with it.